I wanted to look at some pros and cons of counting calories. So you might be thinking, if you're watching this, why should I do it and why should I not do it? So let's look at some pros. Some pros. And probably the biggest pro that I've realized in my time is that you simply realize the overall calorie amounts in a lot of the foods. And that is super incredible when you are trying to lose weight on your own. For yourself. You become so much more self-aware when picking foods. When you're out at restaurants, you might say to yourself, oh my gosh, I had no idea that there's literally 1,500 calories in a giant burger and fries with a side of milkshake. Or it might actually even be more than that. So guess what? When you know that, you're probably going to be thinking, maybe I don't want to make that choice for myself today because that's a lot of calories and I'm trying to lose weight and monitor my overall calorie consumption. So you become very self-aware. Self-aware not only at restaurants but at home too. So when you're preparing meals, you can think, okay, I know that butter has, 100 calories per tablespoon and an apple has 80 calories and a granola bar has 200 calories and, roughly I have this amount of food per my meal. That's going to tell you a rough estimate of your calories per your meal when you're making stuff. And it also gives you a little bit of freedom because when you're going to restaurants, buffets and those things, you know that I can eat some of these things, but it will come at a little bit of a cost. I might need to only eat half of the pizza, for example, or half of the burger and half of the fries, or not as much fries, or substitute the fries, or get a diet soda instead of regular soda because you know the sheer amount of calories in all of these different foods. Another great thing about counting calories is that it makes weight loss so easy. If you burn 2,500 calories per day, you know that because we looked at that NIH body weight calculator. Link will be in the description too if you want to find out your overall calculator goals. You eat 2,500 calories a day, or you need that to maintain your weight, and you eat 2,000 calories less, and you are tracking specifically, guess what? You will lose weight. No questions asked. It takes all the guesswork out because you literally know we are down to a science. We are looking at energy balance. Also, too, the last thing is that it can make transitioning to intuitive eating or basically not counting calories easier because you still are self-aware of certain foods that, oh, I know there's going to be more calories in these foods. So you might not be able to eat them quite as much, but still give yourself some grace when you're just picking different foods to eat. Some cons, and there are some cons to calorie counting. Something that I dealt with personally is that you can become very obsessive with certain calories and just looking at everything. Looking at everything as kind of a game, right? So you're at a birthday party, 200 calories in cake, 100 calories in my appetizers, 300 calories in this. And this is still something I struggle with where I'm looking at everything kind of like a game. Can become very obsessive. So if you are somebody with obsessive tendencies, just realize maybe don't go super full force on this, but realize that it is something that happens. Also, for some, it does kind of take the fun out of eating because if we look at what we just said, you might become so obsessive in the overall calories of each specific thing that you're not even focused on the meal itself. You're not able to be as mindful or be present with your family or friends at these meals because all you're thinking about is the overall amount of calories. You also could be getting judged from others, and this happens all the time. You will start losing some weight and counting calories, and you go to a family dinner and they, you say, oh, no thanks, I don't want any cake. I'm trying to cut back a little bit, and you'll immediately get judged and say, oh, I'm, too good for you, or this cake's too good for you, or trying to lose weight. It's almost like a stigma behind counting calories and losing weight. So this can be a con for some people if you are doing a lot of things with your family, friends, or maybe even your spouse or your loved one that you live with and you're cohabitating with. They could be judging you, and that could be an issue. A lot of times people, when they're counting calories and trying to lose weight too, they'll often focus a lot on the scale, which is a common issue. So a con is basically where you will weigh yourself and you'll see, oh my gosh, I didn't lose any weight, so I'm going to restrict my calories even more. That is something that probably needs to be done, but it's the fact that you immediately jump to, let's just cut more, let's just cut more, let's just cut more, versus looking at what happened. Maybe I'm not counting as accurately. Maybe I just need a little more physical activity. Maybe I need to try to change the foods I'm eating to be a little more full. So it's not quite as hard to actually lose weight and think on these things. So focusing on the scale is a super common issue that many individuals deal with when counting calories. And something I just kind of steer you towards is trying to have more performance related goals when it comes to losing weight and weight loss, as this allows a lot of people to still get healthier, still get fit, but not focus too much on the overall weight. And performance related goals, for example, are I just want to be able to bench press 225 pounds, or I want to be able to walk a mile without breathing hard, or I want to be able to play with my kids without issues and feeling good. Those are all performance related goals. Sometimes calorie counting can be embarrassing too, especially when you are, out and about and you're trying to eat and you're, looking through the menu and you're like, they don't have calories on this. Like, what do I do? Or maybe you're out at a restaurant with your family and you're punching in the calories on your phone, and, you might kind of feel a little self-conscious about this. And I would just highly recommend to remind yourself of your goals, remind yourself of why you're doing this, because at the end of the day, this is for you. You're trying to be healthier for yourself, and just putting everyone else's perspectives, everyone else's thoughts on the side, and remember that this is for you. That's going to help a lot with this kind of embarrassment factor. Another thing about calorie counting is that it's also very overwhelming and time consuming when you're first starting out. It may feel like, okay, I got this app, I got MyFitnessPal, so what do I do now? I got to scan all this stuff. There's so many calories in this and that and everything else. And, you can't just eat food. You can't just look at the food and eat it. So that's where it could sometimes become overwhelming. It may take some of the fun out of eating again, and it can be somewhat time consuming. So this is where you got to find a way to implement it into your life where it's not as time consuming. Maybe you'll just write down all your food on a notebook throughout the day, implement it in your app later in the day. Maybe you can just do the app, but don't be as religious with it. So you're not going to actually weigh out your food. You're not going to use cups and stuff. Do what works for you. Gain some confidence in that overall calorie counting, and over time you will achieve your weight loss goals in no time. Like the video again if this gave you some value. Subscribe to the channel. We help individuals of all abilities become healthier in life and increase their knowledge of the gym. Otherwise, I'm going to link another video right now